My dear friends, I want to share with you today something that has transformed countless lives. Something so simple yet so profound that it may surprise you. It is the sacred practice of speaking to yourself in the mirror, not as mere vanity or self-reflection, but as a direct communion with the divine intelligence that lives within you. You see, when I speak of looking into the mirror and watching God speak back, I am not speaking metaphorically. I am speaking of a literal, tangible experience that awaits every soul who approaches this practice with faith and understanding. The mirror becomes a portal, a sacred space where the human consciousness meets the divine consciousness, where the finite touches the infinite. I have witnessed miracles unfold through this simple practice. I have seen men and women, broken by life's circumstances, stand before their reflection and speak words of power, words of truth, words of divine decree. And I have watched as their entire being transformed, as their circumstances shifted, as their health returned, as their relationships healed, as abundance flowed into their lives like rivers of living water. The mirror, you see, is not just reflecting your physical form, it is reflecting your consciousness, your beliefs, your deepest convictions about yourself and your place in this universe. When you stand before that mirror and speak words of truth, you are not merely talking to yourself. You are addressing the God self within you, the Christ consciousness that has been waiting patiently for you to recognize its presence. I remember a woman who came to me, desperate and defeated. She had been struggling with illness for years, her body racked with pain, her spirit crushed by repeated disappointments. The doctors had given up hope. Her family had grown weary of her condition, and she herself had nearly surrendered to despair. But I taught her this sacred practice, and I watched as her life unfolded into a miracle of healing and restoration. Every morning, she would stand before her mirror and speak these words: "I am a perfect child of God. Divine life flows through every cell of my being. I am healed. I am whole. I am radiant with perfect health." At first, her voice trembled with doubt. The words felt foreign on her tongue, contradicted by the pain in her body and the fear in her heart. But she persisted, speaking with increasing conviction, until one day she looked into that mirror and saw not a sick woman, but a radiant being of light, a temple of the living God. The healing that followed was complete and permanent. Her body responded to the new consciousness she had cultivated. The divine intelligence within her began to express itself as perfect health, abundant energy, and radiant vitality. She had literally spoken a new reality into existence through the power of the word spoken with faith. This is the power that lies dormant within each of you. This is the gift that your Creator has placed within your very being. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are not at the mercy of external conditions. You are a spiritual being, created in the image and likeness of God, endowed with the same creative power that spoke the universe into existence. When you stand before that mirror and speak words of truth, you are participating in the same creative process that brought forth the stars, the planets, the very ground beneath your feet. You are using the same power that Jesus used when he spoke to the storm and said, "Peace, be still." You are accessing the same divine authority that enabled him to multiply loaves and fishes, to heal the sick, to raise the dead. But let me be clear about something vital. This is not about wishful thinking or positive affirmations spoken from the shallow surface of the mind. This is about speaking from the deepest place of knowing, from the Christ consciousness within you that recognizes its divine nature and its inherent connection to the source of all good. I have seen too many people approach this practice with doubt and wonder why it doesn't work for them. They stand before the mirror and speak words of prosperity while their consciousness is filled with thoughts of lack. They declare healing while their inner being is convinced of illness. They proclaim love while their hearts harbor resentment and unforgiveness. The mirror will always reflect back to you the truth of your consciousness. If you speak words of abundance while believing in scarcity, the mirror will show you a person who is trying to convince themselves of something they don't truly believe. But when you speak from that place of deep knowing, when your words align with your divine nature, when you recognize the truth of who you really are, then the mirror becomes a window into the kingdom of heaven that exists within you. I want to share with you the story of a man who discovered this truth in the most difficult circumstances. He had lost his business, his home, his reputation. Everything he had worked for throughout his life had crumbled around him. He came to me broken and bitter, convinced that God had abandoned him, that life was unfair, that he was doomed to failure. I introduced him to the mirror practice, teaching him to speak words of divine supply and infinite abundance. Initially, he resisted. "How can I speak of abundance when I have nothing?" he asked. "How can I declare prosperity when I'm facing bankruptcy?" But I explained to him that this is precisely when the practice is most powerful, when external circumstances seem to contradict the truth we are speaking. Day after day, he stood before his mirror and declared, "I am a child of the King. Divine substance flows through me and manifests as unlimited supply. I am prosperous. I am abundant. I am blessed beyond measure." With each repetition, something shifted within him. His posture changed, his voice grew stronger, his eyes began to shine with inner light. The transformation was remarkable. New opportunities began to present themselves. People who had previously avoided him began to seek his counsel. Ideas flowed into his mind like inspiration from on high. Within months, he had not only recovered his former position, but had exceeded it beyond his wildest dreams. He had literally spoken a new reality into existence. This is the power of the word spoken with faith. This is the creative force that lies within each of you, waiting to be awakened and directed toward your highest good. When you understand this principle and apply it with consistency and faith, there is no limit to what you can accomplish. But remember, this practice is not about manipulating God or forcing the universe to give you what you want. It is about aligning your consciousness with the divine will, about recognizing the good that God has already prepared for you, about opening your heart and mind to receive the blessings that are your divine birthright. When you stand before that mirror and speak words of truth, you are not trying to convince God to bless you. You are acknowledging the blessings that already exist in the realm of divine mind, waiting to manifest in your experience. You are removing the barriers of doubt, fear, and limitation that have kept you from experiencing the abundant life that is your inheritance as a child of God. I have learned through years of study and practice that the mirror serves as a powerful tool for this work because it creates a sacred space of intimacy and honesty. You cannot lie to yourself when you are looking directly into your own eyes. You cannot pretend to believe something that you don't truly accept. The mirror demands authenticity, and authenticity is the foundation of all spiritual power. When you speak to your reflection, you are having a conversation with your own soul. You are addressing the deepest part of your being, the part that knows the truth of who you are and what you are capable of becoming. This is why the practice is so transformative. It bypasses the mental chatter and speaks directly to the Christ consciousness within you. I want to guide you through this practice now, to give you the words and the understanding that will enable you to experience this miracle for yourself. But first, let me remind you of something crucial. Your success in this practice depends not on the perfection of your words, but on the sincerity of your faith and the consistency of your application. There was a woman who came to me with a heart full of bitterness and resentment. She had been hurt deeply by those she loved, betrayed by those she trusted, abandoned by those she depended upon. Her face was hard. Her voice was sharp. Her entire being radiated pain and anger. She had built walls around her heart so high that love could neither enter nor leave. I taught her to stand before her mirror each morning and speak these words: I am love. I am loved. I am surrounded by love. I forgive all who have hurt me, and I am forgiven for all my mistakes. Love flows through me and heals every wound, fills every void, restores every broken place. At first, the words felt like lies. Her heart resisted, her mind rebelled, her emotions churned with conflicting feelings. But I encouraged her to persist, to speak the words even when they felt foreign, to trust the process even when she couldn't see the results. Gradually, something miraculous began to happen. As she continued to speak these words of love and forgiveness, her heart began to soften. The walls she had built began to crumble. The bitterness that had poisoned her spirit began to dissolve. She began to see her past experiences not as evidence of her unworthiness, but as opportunities for spiritual growth and deeper compassion. The transformation was so complete that her friends barely recognized her. Her face glowed with inner radiance, her voice carried a tone of gentleness and warmth. Her entire presence emanated love and peace. She had literally spoken a new heart into existence, a heart capable of giving and receiving love without reservation. This is the power that awaits you when you approach this practice with faith and persistence. This is the miracle that unfolds when you align your words with the truth of your divine nature. You are not trying to become something you are not. You are remembering who you have always been. The mirror practice works because it engages multiple levels of your being simultaneously. When you speak aloud, you are using the creative power of the word. When you look into your own eyes, you are establishing a connection with your soul. When you stand in a posture of confidence and authority, you are embodying the truth you are speaking. When you repeat this practice consistently, you are programming your subconscious mind with new patterns of belief and expectation. I have seen this practice work miracles in every area of human experience. I have watched people heal their bodies, restore their relationships, manifest their dreams, discover their purpose, and transform their entire lives through the faithful application of this simple yet profound technique. Let me share with you the story of a young woman who was struggling with feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. She had been told throughout her childhood that she was not smart enough, not pretty enough, not good enough to succeed in life. These messages had taken root in her consciousness, creating a prison of limitation that seemed impossible to escape. I taught her to stand before her mirror each day and declare, "I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am blessed with infinite intelligence and divine creativity. I am beautiful. I am capable. I am worthy of all good things. God has a perfect plan for my life, and I am fulfilling that plan with joy and confidence." The first time she attempted this practice, she broke down in tears. The words felt so foreign, so contradictory to everything she had been taught to believe about herself. But I encouraged her to continue, to speak the words even through her tears, to trust that the divine intelligence within her would respond to her faith. Week by week, month by month, I watched her transformation unfold. Her posture became more erect. Her voice grew stronger. Her eyes began to shine with inner confidence. She started taking risks she had never dared to take before. She pursued opportunities that had previously seemed beyond her reach. She began to see herself not as a victim of circumstances, but as a beloved child of God, endowed with unlimited potential. The success that followed was inevitable. When you truly know who you are, when you recognize your divine nature and speak from that place of knowing, the entire universe conspires to support your highest good. Doors open, opportunities appear, resources flow, and dreams become reality. This is not magic, my dear friends. This is the natural law of the universe, the law of cause and effect, operating in the realm of consciousness. When you change your thoughts, you change your world. When you align your words with divine truth, you set in motion forces that must manifest as good in your experience. But let me caution you about something important. This practice requires patience and persistence. You did not develop your current patterns of thinking and believing overnight, and you will not transform them instantly. The mirror practice is a discipline, a spiritual exercise that must be practiced regularly to produce lasting results. I have seen people begin this practice with great enthusiasm, only to abandon it after a few days or weeks when they don't see immediate results. They fail to understand that they are working with the deepest levels of consciousness, levels that change gradually but permanently when approached with faith and consistency. There was a man who came to me seeking financial healing. He had been struggling with debt and poverty for years, despite his best efforts to improve his situation. He was intelligent, hardworking, and honest, but somehow prosperity seemed to elude him. I recognized that his problem was not external but internal, rooted in deep-seated beliefs about money and his own worthiness to receive abundance. I taught him to stand before his mirror each morning and speak these words. I am a child of the King, and my Father's house has many mansions. Divine substance flows through me and manifests as unlimited supply. I am prosperous, I am abundant, I am blessed with every good thing. Money comes to me easily and naturally, and I use it wisely for the good of all. For the first month, he saw no change in his external circumstances. His bills remained unpaid, his bank account stayed empty, his creditors continued to call. But I encouraged him to persist, to trust the process, to know that the divine intelligence was working behind the scenes to orchestrate his good. In the second month, small changes began to occur. He received an unexpected refund, found money he had forgotten about, was offered a small freelance project. Nothing dramatic, but enough to encourage him to continue. By the third month, the changes became more pronounced. A new job opportunity appeared. An old debt was forgiven. A profitable investment opportunity was presented to him. Within 6 months, his entire financial situation had transformed. He was not only debt-free, but had begun to accumulate wealth. The same man who had struggled with poverty was now experiencing abundance beyond his previous imagination. He had literally spoken a new financial reality into existence through the power of the word spoken with faith. This is the power that lies dormant within each of you. This is the gift that your Creator has placed within your very being. You are not separate from the source of all good. You are not dependent on external circumstances for your happiness, health, or prosperity. You are a spiritual being, endowed with the same creative power that brought the universe into existence. When you stand before that mirror and speak words of truth, you are not engaging in wishful thinking or positive psychology. You are participating in the fundamental creative process of the universe. You are using the same power that Jesus used when he spoke to the fig tree and it withered, when he spoke to the storm and it calmed, when he spoke to the dead and they lived. But remember, this power must be used with wisdom and responsibility. You cannot speak words of prosperity while harboring thoughts of greed. You cannot declare healing while maintaining habits that damage your health. You cannot proclaim love while holding on to resentment and unforgiveness. The mirror will always reflect back to you the truth of your consciousness. I want to share with you one more story that illustrates the transformative power of this practice. It concerns a woman who had been struggling with loneliness and isolation for years. She had been hurt so deeply by past relationships that she had built walls around her heart, convincing herself that she was better off alone. But deep within, she longed for connection, for companionship, for someone to share her life with. I taught her to stand before her mirror each day and speak these words. I am love, and love is drawn to me. I am surrounded by loving relationships. The perfect companion for my soul is being drawn to me now. I am ready to give and receive love without reservation. My heart is open, my spirit is receptive, and love flows through my life in perfect divine order. The first challenge she faced was her own resistance. Her mind immediately began to argue with these words, reminding her of past hurts. warning her of future disappointments. But I encouraged her to persist, to speak the words even when they felt uncomfortable, to trust that the divine intelligence knew what was best for her. As she continued this practice, something beautiful began to happen. Not only did new people begin to enter her life, but her existing relationships began to transform. Friends who had been distant began to reach out. Family members who had been estranged began to reconnect. And eventually, the perfect companion for her soul appeared in the most natural and wonderful way. The love that entered her life was not desperate or needy, but rich and full and satisfying. She had not only attracted love from others, but had cultivated love within herself. She had become the kind of person who naturally draws loving relationships because she had learned to love herself first. This is the key to all successful mirror work. You must first accept and love yourself unconditionally before you can expect others to do the same. You must recognize your own divine nature before you can manifest divine experiences in your life. You must know your own worth before you can receive the good that God has prepared for you. The mirror becomes a sacred space where this recognition can occur. When you look into your own eyes and speak words of truth, you are having a conversation with your soul. You are acknowledging the Christ consciousness within you, the part of you that has never been wounded, never been diminished, never been separated from the source of all good. As we draw near to the end of our time together, I want to leave you with the specific words and practices that will enable you to experience this miracle for yourself. But first, let me remind you that the power is not in the words themselves, but in the faith and conviction with which you speak them. Begin each day by standing before your mirror, looking directly into your own eyes, and speaking these words with conviction and authority. I am a perfect child of God. Divine life flows through every cell of my being. I am healthy, I am whole, I am radiant with perfect vitality. I am surrounded by love, guided by wisdom, and supplied with everything I need. I am blessed, I am grateful, and I am at peace. For those seeking healing, add these words. Every organ, every cell, every tissue in my body is responding to the healing power of God. Divine life is restoring, renewing, and regenerating my entire being. I am whole, I am well, I am perfectly healthy in body, mind, and spirit. For those seeking prosperity, speak these words. I am a child of the King, and my Father's house has many mansions. Divine substance flows through me and manifests as unlimited supply. I am prosperous, I am abundant, I am blessed with every good thing. Money comes to me easily and naturally, and I use it wisely for the good of all. For those seeking love, declare, I am love, and love is drawn to me. I am surrounded by loving relationships. Perfect love fills my heart and flows through my life. I give love freely and receive love abundantly. My heart is open, my spirit is receptive, and love flows through my life in perfect divine order. Remember, my dear friends, that you are not trying to convince God to bless you. You are acknowledging the blessings that already exist in the realm of divine mind, waiting to manifest in your experience. You are removing the barriers of doubt, fear, and limitation that have kept you from experiencing the abundant life that is your inheritance as a child of God. Practice this faithfully, consistently, with patience and persistence. Trust the process even when you cannot see immediate results. Know that the divine intelligence within you is responding to your faith and working to manifest your highest good. And remember that you are not alone in this journey. The same power that has transformed countless lives throughout history is available to you now, waiting to be awakened and directed toward your perfect good. Say these words into the mirror and watch as God speaks back to you through the transformation of your life, the healing of your body, the restoration of your relationships, and the manifestation of your dreams. This is your inheritance. This is your birthright. This is the abundant life that your Creator has prepared for you from the foundation of the world.